tribe of Judah is roaring out there. Come on! So I'm excited about revival.
Yes!
But I want to count the cost as well. The Lord gave me this verse as we're worshipping today. It's a passage that you'll find in your scriptures in Luke 14, verse 27. Whoever does not bear his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it? Otherwise, he's laid a foundation and is not able to finish. All who see it begin to mock him. So this man began to build and was not able to finish. Or what king going out to encounter another king in war will not sit down first and deliberate whether he is able with 10,000 to meet him who comes against him with 20,000? And if not, while the other is yet a great way off, he sends a delegation and asks for terms of peace. So therefore, any of you who does not renounce all that he has cannot be my disciple. It's not that exciting, that one, is it? Really? Didn't get any amens or hallelujahs after that one. I asked the Lord, why did you show that to me today? And I just feel the Lord dealing with me today as I've been listening to everyone, as I've been praying with everyone. I went to Suncorp Stadium a few years ago with a well-known man of God, and we tried to book that stadium, and we asked God for the $40,000 deposit, and we believed in faith, and we prayed, and we yelled, and we trusted, and we went to church leaders, and nothing happened. And we didn't book the stadium, we didn't have revival, nothing happened. And I think at that time I just put it on the altar and said, all right, God, in your timing. And I've met with Shane a number of times, and I've prayed with Shane, and I've been to Toowoomba with Shane, I've been to the Sunshine Coast with Shane, I've seen the outreaches he's done, and I've been saying, God, why aren't we filling these stadiums? Is it to do with your timing? Is it to do with the disobedience of the church? And I just felt the Lord tell me in that verse today, we need to count the cost. We need to plan, and we need to be wise about how to do this. Shane is going ahead like a bull at a gate, and in faith, and good on him. And God, if God chooses to, he'll fill this place. Amen?
Amen.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many churches sign up. It doesn't matter how much money's raised. It doesn't matter. If God chooses to do it, he'll do it. The thing we've got to do is we've got to make sure we don't go ahead of God or behind God, we go with God. Amen? Yes. We follow the Lord like a cloud by day and a fire by night. And we, the remnant, this morning, there's 12 disciples here, and Shane, with a beard. Jesus changed the world with 12. So God can do it with us. Okay, it doesn't matter how many people are here, like we said before, you know. But we need to seriously get on our knees, get on our faces, and seek God for his wisdom about this. I learned a lot from the Billy Graham Association while spending time with them in Alice Springs. For 2 years they were going to Alice Springs. They did 18 trips in and out of Alice Springs, meeting with church leaders. They firstly go to the business people and they raise the money first. Because they believe it's God's will, it's God's bill. They raise the money first, and if God gives the money, then they go ahead with it. Then they get the church leaders. Then if they get the church leaders and they're all invited in unity, then they go ahead with it. They don't get those two things, they don't bother. And that's just the way they've learned to do it. And, you know, I think they've had a lot of fruit over the years. And I'm saying, okay, God, how can we learn from the way they do it? Because I want to see this place filled. I want to see Suncorp filled. I've been pastoring a church for 10 years. Our church can fit 1,000 people in it. The most we've ever got is 120 on a Sunday morning. I just don't know how to fill. I can't even fill a building more than 120 people. I don't know how we're going to fill 50,000 people in here. But God can do it, amen? God can do it. And I just want to close with this. I just feel the burning of the Lord on my heart right now. We've got to do it the Jesus way. Jesus didn't win decisions, he won disciples. He called 12 men to follow him, and he trained them, he discipled them, and he sent them. And then he sent the 72. And then he sent the 500. And they reached the whole world with the gospel. And here we are 2,000 years later. The best thing we can do is go and win souls and make disciples. Compel them to come. Bring them to come. Bring them to come. Well, each of us here probably has the capacity to win 100 converts in the next couple of months and actually make them disciples and then bring them to the next gathering. That's the best way we're going to do it. It's great to ask the heads of churches. It's great to go and do that. I've been trying to do that for years. I've been the chairman of the National Day of Prayer and Fasting. The most we could get was 1,000 people in Canberra at the Great Hall of Parliament House after 5 years of trying to get people to come and pray for our nation. The church needs to be revived in Australia for revival to happen.
Yes.
And it ain't yet. So we've got to start the revival ourselves.
Yes.
We've got to revive ourselves. We've got to go and win souls. We've got to go and make disciples. We've got to do it through our soup kitchens, through our rehabs, through our alpha courses, through our street evangelism, through our Sunday services, through our youth groups, through whatever means we have, and do so much soul winning and disciple making that the rest of the church goes, okay, yeah, we're going to join in with them. Because they ain't going to join in by just asking them, I'm telling you. The church is dead. The church is dead. The church is lukewarm, it's average, it's status quo, it's putting on a show, it's not bearing fruit, it's not in revival. We need to start our own revival in ourselves and start winning souls, and then they'll come and join us. So that's my word for you today. God bless.
Amen. Time's over. Okay, sorry.
Can I share something? Quickly.
Yeah, we're meant to be out of here 17 minutes ago. So I just, if it's like 30-second type thing.
No, I just encourage you. Some things that happened in my life, as you're saying, you know. I remember one day this night, a couple of weeks ago, he parked his car outside our church and he lost his key. Now, we prayed for him that the key will appear, but everybody went to his own way. I go, Lord, I'm going to take action. So I grabbed the torch and he showed me where he lost his key, this path that he took. I went with the torch, searched everywhere, I couldn't find it. But at the end of the night, everybody went home and he found me and he said, Steve, I found my key. He said, when you put the effort into it, God rewards it.
30 seconds.
30 seconds, you can count. God gave me a vision when we were here today. Like 1.5 tables were filled, and I said to God, "Well, there's like 3 tables, God, where are they?" And God showed me that it was a lot of the, I guess you could say, famous pastors. Well, they think they're famous, but like I saw like Hillsong pastors here. And I also saw like a famous musician, Justin Bieber. I saw him coming and actually playing with the worship team, whoever that may be, and not playing his worldly music, but playing worldly music in the place. And that was a vision that I saw, that all the famous pastors, well, they think they're famous, but you know, God can use anyone. That's the vision that I got.
We need to talk. 30 seconds, okay.
As I was praying this morning on the stadium, I just saw fire over the stadium. There was a lot of people were filled. And it's pretty exciting.
Just very quickly, last week, Sunday, God said to me, go and set up a barbecue over at Fortitude Valley on the Brunswick Street, right on the side of the street. And anyway, we set up. There was absolutely no one. There was no one there. I was thinking, where's everyone? Anyway, we set up, cooked the sausage, everything, and all of a sudden, they came out of nowhere. Just know it. And on that day, about 10 people gave their heart to the Lord. In fact, we even had indigenous elders come and sit there. And at the end of the night, they wouldn't go. I had to try and chase them out because I had to close up.
Praise the Lord. Okay. So, I guess what I just wanted to cover, because there is 5 or 6 churches here, very quickly. So on the next thing we have is July the 9th breakfast. Okay. So that will be in this room again. Then on August the 20th, it's a dinner, and it's a room just over there somewhere. That's pretty certain. Yep. Gate 1.
So still same street.
Yep.
Just further down, where everyone parked at gate 2.
Yep.
Gate 1's just next to it.
Just next to it. So that's the room over there. It's a much larger room. We're anticipating larger numbers by then. And at that one, we're inviting some of the senior pastors and heads of churches to pray. But what I very quickly wanted to, so they're the next 2 things. So please invite people to those. We'll be putting out video promos and invites and emails and texts and everything like that, social media. The website's still being built, the app has started. Things are good, you know, everything's on its way, praise the Lord, the ball is rolling. 5 ways churches can get involved. If you look at that document, very quickly, I just want to say that 5 ways, the reason why we're engaging the churches is number 1, to pray for the event. Number 2, to come and invite others to come, and then those ones invite their friends to come, and then those ones invite their friends to come. That's how you're gaining momentum. So 1, pray. Pray. First and foremost, the battle is won in the heavens. Then we send in the ground force. This here looks like the ground force. That's a modern warfare strategy that happens. I used to work in the defense sector. Number 2, come, invite others to come. Number 3, probably the main reason, is what Matt was talking about, discipleship. So we just don't want converts, we just don't want a lot of people to, you know, put their hand up on the night and then 5 minutes later, you know, the next day walk away from the Lord, right? We want to see each person partnered with someone who's been trained in how to disciple a new believer. So discipleship, mentoring the new believers. The 4th thing is volunteer. Even though with this stating, we need basically... we need a couple of thousand people. When we fill this place, it's going to take thousands of volunteers to man it, on top of the staff that's already going to be here. We've got to pay for those as well. The 5th thing is giving. So there's different types of giving. Financially, primarily, is what it's talking about in that article. It's 400,000 per day for this venue, so over 3 days it's 1.2 million. The advertising marketing campaign being advertised throughout the city is another about $1 million on top of that. So we're looking at a $2 million venture. All in all, right now, today, we need about $100,000. So if you got that, you want to come and interject that as a startup, 100,000. That's good for this next month or so. It's not hard. $100,000 isn't like all that much money. Specifically for June, it's 30,000, and July it's 70,000. By August, it's 500,000, and then by September, another million or something. Right. So that's the budget that we're looking at. And the reason why I'm probably not too worried about it is this little thing that happened to me a few years ago. So in 2010, I was an aerospace engineer, and I stepped out to be a missionary in 2010. And one night it was night time, and I was standing before the Lord, and I was just complaining, essentially. I had nothing for breakfast, and I had 4 children. And I said, God, I just want $2 for a bottle of milk. I think we had the cereal, but we didn't have the milk. And I heard the audible voice of God say this to me. He said, right now you are learning to trust me for $2, but one day it will be $2 million. You know, here I am 6 years later, and this is a $2 million venture, it just so turns out. You know, the next morning I had a bottle of milk in my fridge. And every day for the next 12 months, there was always a bottle of milk in my fridge. And quite often I would go to bed with no milk. I would wake up in the morning, it would be on my doorstep. I would get a text message at 3 a.m. would just transfer $5 into your bank account. Like, I mean, who transfers $5 in all honesty? Like, we always had a bottle of milk the next morning. It was just supernatural. And then after that year, God stretched us a little bit more, and we always had breakfast. So whether it was toast or this or that, but we've never missed a breakfast in 6 years of having to trust God for it. I honestly never really taken up an offering that I can recall. I don't believe in it. But I do ask people this: would you give your hearts? You know, the reason why it's good to give money is because where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So it's a good thing when people donate, because it just shows that, you know, you're putting what's precious to you into what's precious to God. And I can guarantee you there is nothing more important to God than the lost. That's the whole reason Jesus came to the earth, was to seek and save that which was lost. So by all means give, you know, there's a million ways you can give online, however you want to. So that's it, right? Pray, come, invite others to come, disciple, volunteer for the event, particularly probably at the moment where we're asking if people will just invite their other ministerial friends. Probably what I would ask today is, would anyone be willing just to door knock a dozen churches in their area and invite, you know, take time out to have a 30-minute meeting with the pastor and invite that pastor to come? Is there anyone who would be willing to do that? Just go door knock a dozen churches. There is a few others that are currently doing it. It's probably 1 day a week, right? If you got 1 day a week, if you could give 1 day a week, that would help out tremendously. There's about 3 or 4 full-time people, but more volunteers is great. And the fifth thing is give. Pray, come, disciple, volunteer, give. That's why we're partnering with the churches. Alrighty, so I guess we'll close there. We'll just, Gabe, we'll just close in a song. And yeah, this is about him, so we'll just end on that note of Jesus, and we'll break out from there.
Yeah.